Hello, and welcome to our Lenten Devotional from United Faith Community, United Church of Christ in Buffalo, Minnesota. This devotional is for Wednesday, March the 4th. Our first scripture today comes from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 14, verses 22 through 33. Immediately he made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead to the other side, while he dismissed the crowds. And after he had dismissed the crowds, he went up to the mountain by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone. But by this time the boat, battered by the waves, was far from the land, for the wind was against them. And early in the morning, he came walking toward them on the sea. But when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified, saying, "It's a ghost!" And they cried out in fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them and said, "Take heart, it is I. Do not be afraid." Peter answered him, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." And he said, "Come." So Peter got out of the boat, started walking on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he noticed the strong wind, he became frightened and began to sink. He cried out, "Lord, save me!" Jesus immediately reached out his hand and caught him, saying to him, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" When they got into the boat, the wind ceased. And those in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." And our Hebrew scripture verse for today comes from the book of Isaiah, chapter 52, verses 1 and 2. "Awake, awake, put on your strength, O Zion. Put on your beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, the holy city. Shake yourself from the dust. Rise up, O captive Jerusalem. Loose the bonds from your neck, O captive daughter Zion." And our Lenten thought for today is entitled Self-Defeat. Exhaustion, waves, winds. Who would not be afraid? Darkness, changed reality. A man walking on the sea. Who would not tremble? Those who were in that boat, who had witnessed the extraordinary, miracle after miracle, feeding, healing, teaching. Should they not have known you? Those who lived with you, loved you, followed you. Why were they so afraid that night? And Peter, where is your strength? What made you let go of the beautiful garments of grace to grab hold of the bonds that would fearfully pull you under? You left your nets and your family to follow a carpenter who rebuilt the way of things. You only believed enough for a step or two. You could stand in his presence, defy the laws of nature at his command, only to be sunk by the wind? Yes, I know that if I were in that boat, I would have done less, captivated by fear. I would not have jumped overboard or even entertained the thought. If I had, I too would cry out as I fell into the dark, cold waters, understanding whose authority guided my steps. Who among us can criticize? exhaustion, wind, waves, darkness, and sometimes changed reality. All familiar things that lead to ordinary fear and occasional trembling. If a man walked on water in our line of sight, a fear not would be required. In all these years since, how have we not managed to clothe ourselves with strength and beauty, rise from the dust in boundless freedom? Perhaps we ought to be still and listen until you say, "Come." Or do we need to cry out in our sinking before the waves overwhelm us? Or maybe we should just open our eyes to the beautiful garments of grace freely given. Thank you for listening. If you would like to know more about United Faith Community, United Church of Christ, I invite you to visit our website at www.ufcucc.org. And I would invite also you to visit us for a Sunday morning worship at 10 a.m. in downtown Buffalo. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow.